Welcome to Quick Speak, the English podcast.
Hello, everyone.
Today, we're diving into something that shapes a huge part of our modern world, and it moves incredibly fast.
Yeah,
The speed of social media.
that's right. It's something we all experience, isn't it? That feeling of constant motion online.
Definitely. We've looked at a collection of articles and research on this,
Hmm.
and our goal in this deep dive is to help you understand why social media feels so incredibly fast, and maybe what that speed means for us, for you listening.
Absolutely. It's more than just, technical speed, like how fast data travel.
Right. It's about how this feeling of speed influences our minds, changes our culture.
And affects the way we connect with each other every single day. It's quite profound, actually.
It really is. It
So-
seems fundamental now.
It is. So maybe let's start by trying to define what this extreme speed even means in the context of social media.
Okay, let's unpack that. The sources we looked at talk about real-time everything. Can you explain that phrase?
Yeah.
What does it mean for platforms like, say, X, Instagram, or TikTok?
Sure. Real-time everything is a good way to put it. It basically describes how these modern social media platforms work.
Meaning?
Meaning that events, information, conversations,
Yeah.
interactions, they seem to appear and be consumed almost immediately after they happen.
Instantly.
Pretty much, yeah. There's very little noticeable delay for the user.
So if something big happens somewhere in the world,
You expect to see posts, videos, comments about it on social media, like right away.
and not just see them, but interact with them too,
Exactly. You see a post, maybe you comment on it, someone replies to your comment.
then you often see that reply pop up almost instantly.
Yes. That creates this sense, this feeling of being constantly connected to a live stream of information and activity.
A live stream of everything.
Kind of, yeah. And the sources really emphasize that this real-time feeling isn't just about the technical speed underneath, although that's crucial, of course.
It's not just fast internet cables.
No.
Yeah.
It's also very much a psychological experience for you, the person using the platform.
A psychological experience. How so? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's the feeling that you are plugged into the current pulse of what's happening, like right now as it unfolds.
Okay.
It's that sensation that if you look at your feed, you are seeing the very latest thoughts, the newest pictures, the breaking events, the current trends.
So the platform is designed to make you feel like you're right there in the moment.
Precisely. It's designed to give you that feeling of immediacy, making you feel present, even if the event or the person posting is, thousands of miles away.
I see. So it's not just that the internet is fast, but the platform itself works hard to make you feel like everything is instant, happening right now, just for you.
Yes, that's a really key point. And this feeling, this immediacy, it's become totally fundamental.
Fundamental to how we communicate online.
How we communicate, how we get our news and information, how we interact generally. Our whole style has adapted.
Oh.
Think about quick reactions, like using an emoji instead of words, short comments, instant messages rather than longer emails.
Right, we expect quick answers.
We do, and our consumption of content is shaped by it too. We expect constant updates, live streams are popular.
Feeds that just keep refreshing on their own.
Exactly. And our connections often revolve around sharing and reacting to things as they are happening, like watching a show together but commenting online.
It sounds like this speed isn't just a feature anymore. It's like the main way we experience these platforms.
It really is. It's core to the user experience, and importantly, it's intentionally engineered to feel that way.
Engineered. That implies planning, design.
Absolutely. Which brings us nicely to the psychology behind it all. Why is the speed so compelling to us humans?
Ah, yes, the brain part.
Hmm.
I'm always fascinated by how our minds interact with technology. How does social media speed tap into our basic psychology?
Well, it turns out our brains are actually sort of hardwired to pay attention to new and immediate information.
Hardwired, like from evolution.
Yeah, you could say that. Think about our ancestors living in the wild. Knowing about something new or surprising in their environment, maybe danger, maybe food, knowing about it right away could be critical for survival.
Makes sense. Being alert saves you.
Right. And that deep-seated biological response is still with us. So when our brains encounter something new, something relevant, or maybe something surprising,
They react strongly.
they often release a chemical called dopamine.
Dopamine, I've heard of that.
Right.
Often called the feel-good chemical, right? Or the reward chemical.
It's a key part of the brain's reward system, yes. It gives us a small positive feeling, a little hit, that encourages us to seek out more of whatever triggered it.
Okay, and social media triggers this.
Oh, incredibly effectively. These platforms are masters at triggering these little dopamine releases. They do it by constantly presenting you with the potential for something new and interesting.
Like a notification popping up on your phone screen?
Exactly like that. That little red number on an app icon or a banner that slides down. It signals that something new has happened related to you, a like on your photo, a comment, a direct message.
And your brain goes, ooh, what's that?
Pretty much. Your brain anticipates a potential reward, social validation, new information, connection, and that encourages you to open the app immediately to find out what it is.
And the feed itself. The endless scrolling.
That works the same way, absolutely. Every time you pull down to refresh your feed, or even when it refreshes automatically,
There's a chance something new and interesting will appear.
exactly, something unexpected, something funny, something relevant to you. Each new item has the potential to give you that little dopamine hit. It's a constant cycle.
Anticipation. Reward. Anticipation.
Precisely. And the platforms are intentionally designed to create and reinforce this loop. It's not an accident.
So it actually creates a kind of craving, not just for information, but for the speed of getting new information.
That's a great way to put it. Users don't just get information quickly, they start to crave the speed itself because that speed is linked to these frequent small rewards. It's a powerful psychological loop.
Describe a loop again.
Okay, so you check your phone, maybe out of habit, maybe because of a notification. You see something new, a post, a like. That gives you a small dopamine release, a tiny reward. That reward reinforces the behavior checking your phone. So you're more likely to check it again later, anticipating another potential reward, another hit of new information.
It's almost like the platforms are training our brains. Training us to expect and desire this constant stream of new stuff.
In a way, yes. They are conditioning us. And the sources point out something else interesting. This real-time content also creates a powerful illusion.
An illusion of what?
An illusion of being part of something significant that is unfolding right now, even if you're just watching. And this taps into some really fundamental human needs.
What sort of needs are we talking about?
Well, there's the need for relevance. You know, feeling informed, feeling like you know what's going on.
Not missing out. FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Exactly that. FOMO is a big driver. Then there's the need for connection, feeling like you're sharing an experience with others.
Even if it's just watching the same live stream or commenting on the same trending topic.
Yes, even that creates a sense of shared experience, a connection, however fleeting. And maybe surprisingly, there's even a sense of control.
Control. How does speed give you control?
Having immediate access to information can make you feel more empowered, like you can react quickly or at least stay on top of things as they happen, even if you're mostly just consuming the information passively.
I hadn't thought of it that way. So the speed isn't just about being efficient, it's a psychological engine.
Right. It makes us feel connected, relevant, engaged, all by constantly stimulating our brain's reward system with novelty.
Wow, okay, so that's the psychology. But you mentioned earlier this feeling wouldn't be possible without the technology behind it.
Absolutely. This feeling of instantaneity relies on massive, incredibly complex technological systems working flawlessly behind the scenes.
Right. It feels like magic, but it's engineering. So let's talk about that tech.
Yeah.
What kind of engineering does it take to make this real-time experience work for, well, billions of people?
It's a phenomenal technical challenge. The main goal is achieving very, very low latency.
Latency, what's that?
Latency is basically delay. It's the time between an action happening like someone clicking post and you seeing the result on your screen. Minimizing that delay is key.
So you want the delay to be almost zero?
As close to zero as possible, yeah. Milliseconds matter. And this has to work reliably for huge amounts of data, photos, videos, text, and billions of users all interacting at the same time all across the globe.
Sounds difficult.
Extremely. The sources highlight several critical technologies that make this possible.
Okay. Can you break some of those down for us in simple terms?
I'll try. First, there are content delivery networks, usually called CDNs.
CDNs.
Imagine a social media platform has its main computers, its servers, in maybe one or two big data centers. If everyone around the world had to connect directly to those few places.
It would be really slow, especially if you're far away.
Exactly. The physical distance creates delay. CDNs solve this. They basically create copies of the content like popular photos, videos, the basic structure of the app's feed, and store these copies on many servers located in different places all over the world. closer to the users.
Ah, so it's like having local libraries instead of one giant central library far away.
That's a good analogy. When you want to see something like a picture, your phone or computer connects to the nearest CDN server that has a copy.
So the data doesn't have to travel as far, making it much faster.
Precisely. It dramatically reduces the time it takes for content to load on your device.
Okay, CDNs. What else?
Another important one is edge computing. This is kind of related. It takes the idea of being closer to the user a step further. Instead of sending all the data back to large central data centers for processing, some of the computing, some of the thinking happens on smaller servers located closer to where the data is generated or where the user is, at the edge of the network.
So CDNs bring the content closer, and edge computing brings some of the work or processing closer too.
That's a reasonable way to simplify it, yes. It's particularly useful for things that need very quick responses based on what you're doing right now, not just delivering static files like photos.
Okay. And what about managing all the posts, likes, comments, all that data being created constantly?
For that, they use distributed databases. Think of it like this. It's not one single gigantic database holding everything.
Because that would be too slow.
It would be a huge bottleneck, yes. A distributed database system spreads the data across many different computers, many servers, often in various physical locations.
Why does spreading it out help?
It allows the platform to handle a massive number of read and write requests simultaneously. People all over the world can post new information, writing, and view existing information reading very, very quickly. If everyone tried to access one central point, it would just get overwhelmed.
So it allows for massive scale and speed.
Yeah.
Makes sense. You need the data itself to be available and updated instantly everywhere.
Exactly. And one more key piece, push-based architectures.
Push-based, as opposed to...
As opposed to pull. Think about checking your email the old way. You often have to open the app and hit a refresh or sync button. Your device is pulling new information from the server when you ask for it.
Okay.
Social media often uses push. The server actively pushes new information to your device automatically as soon as it becomes available, without you having to ask.
Ah. Is that why notifications just appear on my phone's lock screen, even when I haven't opened the app?
That's a perfect example. Notifications are pushed to your device. New messages appearing instantly in a chat window, that's often pushed too.
Okay, so CDNs, edge computing, distributed databases, and push architectures.
Those are some of the core technologies. Working together in incredibly complex, highly optimized systems, they enable the features that feel truly real-time.
Like watching a live video stream on TikTok or Instagram. The delay is usually tiny.
Exactly. Or seeing comments appear instantly under a live post on X. Or watching that list of trending topics update itself almost second by second.
It really is quite amazing when you start to think about the sheer engineering effort involved to make those interactions feel so seamless, so effortless for billions of people.
It's a genuine marvel of modern engineering, and these sophisticated systems then provide the foundation for the next layer we need to talk about.
Which is the design.
How the platforms are actually designed, the user interface, to reinforce that feeling of speed and immediacy.
Right, because the tech might be fast, but what we actually see and interact with the buttons, the layout, the notifications, that's crucial in making us feel the speed. How does the design of the apps do that?
The UI, the user interface, and the overall UX user experience design are absolutely deliberate. They are crafted specifically to highlight speed and maximize that sense of immediacy.
How? What elements are key?
Well, the sources point to several design elements you probably see every day. We already mentioned notifications, which are a huge one.
Yeah, those pop-ups and red dots are hard to ignore.
Exactly. They are designed as interruptions. Their purpose is to grab your attention immediately. The visual cues, the badges, the banners, sometimes sounds, they all signal something new has happened. Look now.
They create urgency.
They do. They pull you back into the platform instantly. Then there's the way content is presented in our feeds.
The main screen you scroll through.
Right. These feeds are usually controlled by algorithms, and these algorithms are constantly working to show you what they think is the most relevant content for you at any given moment.
And relevant often means new or trending right now.
Very often, yes. The feeds are designed to refresh frequently, sometimes automatically when you open the app, sometimes when you pull down.
So every time you look, there's potentially something new.
Reinforcing that idea that the feed is a live, ever-changing stream, features like auto-refresh, where new posts just appear at the top without you doing anything.
Make the stream feel completely continuous, like it never stops.
Exactly. So the design isn't just about aesthetics making it look good. It's fundamentally about optimizing for the fastest possible consumption and reaction.
Removing friction, speeding things up.
Absolutely. Removing any pause, emphasizing the now. Let's look at some specific platform examples mentioned in the sources. Think about TikTok.
Okay. Videos play automatically, right?
Yes. One video ends, the next one starts instantly. There's no need to click play. And there's the endless scroll.
You just flick your finger and another video appears. It never seems to end.
Right. That design is incredibly effective at eliminating any friction or pause in the process of watching content. It maximizes the sheer speed of consumption.
There's barely a moment to stop and think before the next video is playing.
Precisely. Now think about X, formerly Twitter. The timeline updates. Often, new tweets just appear at the top of your feed automatically as people post them.
Yeah, especially during a big event.
Yeah.
It feels like you're watching it unfold live, reading people's thoughts in real time.
It gives you that exact sensation, doesn't it? A live, global conversation streaming directly to you. It reinforces the platform's identity as a place for immediate updates and reactions.
Okay, what about Instagram?
Consider Instagram stories and reels. A key design element there is their temporary nature. Stories typically disappear after 24 hours.
And Reels often focus on quick, current trends that fade fast.
Yes. This temporary quality, this ephemerality, creates a strong sense of urgency.
You feel like you have to watch them now or you'll miss out.
Exactly. It taps directly into that psychological FOMO, the fear of missing out that we talked about. Their temporary nature strongly encourages immediate viewing and immediate engagement. If you wait, it might be gone, or the trend might be over.
So, putting it all together, notifications, algorithmic feeds, auto-refresh, endless scroll, temporary content.
Yeah.
These are all deliberate design choices.
Yes. They're tools used to make us feel the speed, keep us hooked on the now, and constantly engaged with the platform.
And this intense focus on now within the apps. Okay. You're saying it hasn't stayed just within the app?
No, not at all. It's spilled out and profoundly reshaped our broader cultural expectations about time.
How so? How has the speed of social media impacted what society as a whole expects in terms of, say, how quickly information should travel or how people should respond?
It has fundamentally changed the pace of our culture. It's created this widespread expectation of immediate communication and instant information, the expectation of now.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. Think about news cycles. It wasn't that long ago that major news might unfold over days. You'd wait for the evening news broadcast or the next day's newspaper. Now, a major event breaks, and within minutes, literally minutes, the world expects to see real-time updates, eyewitness photos or videos, and instant reactions pouring onto social media.
So the traditional 24-hour news cycle feels incredibly slow by comparison.
Much, much slower. The expectation now is often for minute-by-minute updates during a crisis or big event.
Wow. What about businesses?
Businesses face immense pressure, too. Customers expect near-instant responses on social media. If you tweet a complaint at a company...
You expect a reply pretty quickly.
Yeah. Brand response times are often measured in minutes now, not hours or days. And managing a PR crisis that breaks on social media requires an incredibly fast reaction.
Because if they don't respond quickly, they risk looking out of touch or like they don't care.
Exactly. Silence can be damaging. There's this expectation of immediate engagement.
You also see it with big cultural moments, right?
Yeah.
Like a major sports game or a popular TV show finale.
Absolutely. Millions of people are providing live commentary, sharing reactions, posting memes on social media as it happens. The expectation is that you can join that real-time conversation, or at least follow along.
It becomes part of the experience itself.
It does. And you mentioned something earlier about silence, how even not responding quickly can be interpreted negatively. Yes, that's a really striking consequence of this now culture, because the baseline expectation is constant, immediate communication. Silence from a public figure, a brand, an organization during a major event or controversy, it can be read very negatively.
Wow.
It might be seen not just as a slow response, but as indifference, maybe avoidance. In some cases, people might even interpret silence as agreement with something negative or complicity.
That's powerful. The idea that not speaking quickly is itself a form of communication or is interpreted as one.
It really is. So now has become the default rhythm, the expected time frame for many aspects of public communication and information sharing.
And this impacts different sectors in specific ways.
Definitely. Journalism, as we touched on, has had to adapt dramatically. News outlets have to integrate social media deeply into their reporting, finding ways to be fast while still trying to maintain accuracy, which is a huge challenge.
Trying to verify information when it's spreading like wildfire must be incredibly difficult.
It's a constant struggle for journalists and news organizations. Then think about marketing.
Brands need to be ready to jump on trends instantly.
Yes, they need real-time strategies. They have to be agile, ready to react to sudden viral moments, cultural conversations, or unexpected PR crises that blow up on social platforms. Think about brands creating quick, witty responses to current events.
That's a direct result of needing to engage in this real-time flow.
Exactly. And politics, too. Public figures, politicians, they are under immense pressure to engage immediately.
To respond to critics, address breaking news, interact with voters.
All in real time via social media. Any significant delay can make them seem out of touch, disconnected, or even irrelevant in the fast-paced online conversation.
It really feels like the speed of social media has just accelerated the whole pace of public life and expectations.
It has fundamentally recalibrated our collective sense of time, how quickly things should happen. And this speed is intrinsically linked to another defining feature of social media.
Which is?
Virality.
Yes. When something, a video, a meme, an idea, spreads incredibly quickly to millions of people, how does speed relate to things going viral?
The sources draw a very clear and inseparable link between virality and these real-time dynamics. The basic principle is simple. The faster something spreads,
the more momentum it builds.
Exactly. The more momentum it gains, the more likely it is to reach a truly massive audience very quickly. Speed isn't just related to virality today, it's often the engine driving it.
So getting attention fast, right at the beginning, is crucial for something to become viral.
Yes. And the platforms themselves are designed to actively encourage and reward this speed. They do this through something called engagement velocity.
Engagement velocity, what's it?
It means the algorithms that decide what content to show people pay close attention to how quickly a post gets engagement, likes, comments, shares, views, especially in the first few minutes or hours after it's posted.
So if lots of people interact with it really fast,
the algorithm sees that as a strong signal, a signal that this content is currently very relevant, very interesting, very compelling right now.
And if it thinks it's compelling, it shows it to more people.
Precisely. It boosts its visibility, pushing it out to a wider audience, which of course gives it the chance to get even more engagement, even faster. It creates a positive feedback loop.
That makes sense. And this must create incentive for users too, right? For the people posting content.
A huge incentive. It strongly encourages you, the user or creator, to make and share content that is likely to generate that rapid engagement.
What kind of content does that well?
Often, it's content that is extremely timely, directly related to breaking news or a sudden hot trend. It can be a highly reactive, a quick, maybe witty or angry response to something someone else just posted.
Or maybe something very emotional.
Yes, emotionally charged content often works well too. Things designed to provoke a strong, immediate feeling happiness, outrage, surprise that makes people want to hit like or share or comment instantly without much thought.
So to have a chance of going viral, the system encourages you to post things that get that instant, almost gut reaction.
That's a good way to put it. The structure favors content that is quick to consume and quick to react to. And the sources describe this whole process using the metaphor of a flywheel.
A flywheel, like a heavy wheel in a machine.
Exactly. Imagine a big, heavy wheel. It takes a lot of effort to get it started, to get it spinning. But once it reaches a certain speed, its own momentum keeps it going incredibly fast and powerfully.
Okay, how does that apply to virality?
It starts with that initial burst of speed, rapid sharing, and engagement, often because the content is timely or emotional. That initial speed gets the flywheel spinning.
Okay.
This speed leads to increased visibility because the platform's algorithms notice the high engagement velocity and start showing the content to more people. That's like the flywheel picking up speed.
Got it. More visibility.
which then drives even more engagement from the larger audience now seeing the content. People jump on the bandwagon. This adds more energy to the flywheel.
And that extra engagement.
Further accelerates the speed at which the content spreads and how much the algorithm prioritizes it. It spins faster and faster.
Wow. So it's a cycle feeding itself.
Mm-hmm.
Speed creates visibility. Visibility drives engagement, and that engagement creates even more speed.
That's the real-time virality flywheel in action. This self-reinforcing loop powered by the tech infrastructure and the platform design we talked about explains why some things just seem to explode out of nowhere online.
It's a powerful dynamic.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it could have downsides too. This constant push for speed and instant reaction.
Absolutely. Which brings us to what the sources call the double-edged sword of speed. This incredible velocity, like any powerful force, comes with significant negative consequences.
Okay. What are some of the main downsides identified?
One major issue discussed is burnout.
Burnout. I think a lot of people can relate to feeling that.
Yes. There's this constant pressure, this feeling that you need to be always on, always available, always checking, always keeping up with the endless stream of updates.
And for creators, pressure to constantly produce new stuff.
Exactly. To react quickly to trends, to keep feeding the algorithm. It's mentally and emotionally exhausting for both creators and consumers. This relentless pace contributes significantly to stress, anxiety, and fatigue.
It's just nonstop cycle of checking, reacting, posting, checking.
It is. And another critical problem directly linked to the speed is the spread of misinformation.
False information spreading quickly.
Yes. In an environment where the prime incentive is to share and react instantly, the time and effort required to actually verify information to check if it's true often gets skipped.
So speed makes it much harder to be accurate. People share before they check.
Absolutely. False rumors, misleading claims, outright lies. They can spread like wildfire across social media, sometimes even faster than true information, especially if they're shocking or emotionally charged.
Reaching huge numbers of people in minutes or hours.
Exactly. And by the time fact-checkers or official sources can debunk the falsehood, it's already deeply embedded in people's minds and conversations. The speed of sharing simply overwhelms the process of verification.
That's a really serious problem, particularly for things like public health or political information.
It's a massive challenge for society. The sources also highlight another downside: superficiality.
Superficiality, meaning things become less deep, less meaningful.
Kind of, yes. When speed, brevity, and immediate reaction are the things that get rewarded by the platform's design and the viral cycle, depth and nuance often get lost.
Let us show up.
Well, instead of thoughtful, detailed discussions, you might see exchanges dominated by short, reactive comments, quick agreement or disagreement using emojis, interactions that feel more performative.
Performative, like just putting on a show.
Yeah, like posting something mainly to signal you belong to a certain group or to get quick likes and validation, rather than genuinely exploring an idea or building a real connection. The pressure for quick engagement can flatten complex issues into simplistic sound bites and encourage quite shallow interactions.
It does feel like sometimes the conversation stays very surface level.
That's a common outcome.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a growing awareness of these downsides, doesn't it? Maybe people are starting to look for something different.
Yes, the sources definitely mention an emerging counter-movement, or at least a growing conversation. As more people experience the burnout, the negativity, the shallowness.
You have to start questioning the constant speed.
Right. There's a growing call for what's sometimes termed slow media, or maybe just more intentional, mindful engagement online. Slow media. What does that mean in practice? How can media be slow?
It's more of an approach, really. A preference for content and interaction that prioritizes depth, thoughtfulness, quality, over just speed and sheer volume.
So maybe choosing to read a long article instead of just scanning headlines.
That could be part of it. Or engaging in more detailed discussions, maybe in smaller, more private groups. Or consciously choosing to use platforms or features within platforms that encourage slower, more deliberate interaction, taking time to craft a response.
So it represents a potential shift in values for some users.
Yeah.
Moving away from that constant urgency towards something more considered, more meaningful.
Precisely. It suggests that while the real-time nature of social media is incredibly powerful and widespread, its negative side effects are prompting some people to consciously seek out or even try to create digital spaces or ways of using existing spaces that operate at a different, slower pace.
That's an interesting development. So looking ahead now, Is this drive for speed just going to continue? Will things get even faster? What does the future of real-time social media look like?
Well, the sources generally suggest that yes, technological advancements are likely to make real-time experiences even faster, more seamless, more integrated into our lives, and potentially more immersive.
Faster and more immersive. What technologies will drive that?
Two key ones often mentioned are artificial intelligence AI and the continued rollout and improvement of 5G and eventually 6G network infrastructure.
Okay, how will AI and better mobile networks change things?
Well, 5G offers significantly faster internet speeds on mobile devices, but crucially, also much lower latency, that delay we talked about.
Yeah.
Getting that delay down even further is key.
So near instantaneous connection anywhere.
That's the goal. It provides the technical foundation for truly immediate interactions on the go. And AI can process absolutely enormous amounts of data incredibly quickly.
And personalize things.
Yes, and personalize experiences for individuals in real time based on what it knows about you and what's happening right now.
So faster connections combined with faster, smarter processing, what kinds of future experiences could that enable?
The sources speculate on some fascinating possibilities. Things like live mixed reality events.
Mixed reality, like blending digital and physical.
Exactly. Imagine attending a concert or a sporting event, maybe wearing special glasses, and seeing digital overlays, extra information, or even virtual participants interacting with the physical space and with you in real time.
Wow, that does sound like science fiction starting to become real.
It's moving in that direction. Other examples could be AI-driven instant news summaries. Imagine an AI constantly scanning thousands of news sources the moment stories are published.
And giving you a personalized summary of just what you need to know right now.
Yes, tailored exactly to your interests, updated continuously, maybe even spoken to you by an AI voice. Or think about personalized real-time shopping.
How does that work?
Maybe an AI assistant guides you through buying something online, understanding your needs in the moment, perhaps using augmented reality to show you how a product would look in your own home instantly.
So the future of speed isn't just about getting a notification faster. It could be about living and interacting within environments that are instantly being updated and personalized by technology around us.
That seems to be the trajectory, yes. Pushing towards even lower latency, even deeper integration between digital and physical worlds, all happening in real time.
But there was a concluding insight in the sources on this.
Yes, a very important one, I think. It connects back to the psychology and the culture we discussed.
What was the insight?
It's that the real impact, the real power of real time isn't ultimately just about the technology itself, the CDNs, the 5G, the AI, impressive as they are.
What is it about then?
The real power lies in its profound effect on how we perceive time itself and how we interact with the present moment. It fundamentally reshapes our sense of time, our expectations of speed, and our behavior by making the now, the immediate moment, the most compelling and dominant frame of experience in our digital lives.
That really ties it all together. The technology enables the speed.
But the speed changes our human experience, our perception of reality, in a way.
It truly does. Okay, so let's try to quickly summarize the main points from this deep dive for everyone listening. Social media feels incredibly fast.
And that's not an accident.
No, it's intentionally designed and engineered that way. It relies on powerful technology, things like CDNs and push systems to deliver content almost instantly.
And the design of the apps themselves, the notifications, the feeds, the temporary content reinforces that feeling of immediacy.
Plus, it taps deeply into our basic human psychology, our brain's craving for novelty and reward, creating that dopamine loop.
Right. And this whole system, this real-time everything, hasn't just stayed online, it's changed our culture, creating an expectation for instant communication and reaction in news, business, politics, almost everywhere.
It's a really fundamental shift in how we engage with information, with each other, and with the world.
Definitely. Understanding these different layers, the tech, the psychology, the design, the cultural impact, hopefully helps you navigate these very fast digital spaces a bit more consciously.
Yeah, maybe helps understand the forces influencing how we behave online and why we feel that constant pull to check our phones.
It gives you a clearer picture, hopefully, of why the platforms feel the way they do.
Absolutely. And that leads us to a final thought, something for you to consider after listening today.
Okay.
We've explored just how deeply engineered for speed our digital world is. It's constantly pulling us towards the immediate, the now. So the question is, what would it genuinely take for you, personally, to choose to engage more slowly sometimes?
To intentionally slow down your interaction with social media or maybe even with other parts of your life that feel too rushed.
Exactly. When you feel it's needed, what steps could you take? And perhaps more importantly, what value might you gain from deliberately choosing slowness?
What could you get from pushing back against this world built for speed? Maybe deeper connections, more thoughtful understanding, less feeling of burnout?
It's something worth thinking about, isn't it? Especially as these technologies become even faster and more integrated into our
A
lives.
very relevant question for all of us, I think.
Well, we hope this deep dive has given you some clear insights and useful language practice around the speed of social media and its impact. Thank you so much for joining us on Quick Speak.
Thank you. And if you are learning English and found this helpful, please remember to subscribe to Quick Speak for more episodes.
Yes, please do. And don't forget, you can find more learning materials related to today's topic, like vocabulary lists and exercises on our website.
That's right. The link is in the description of this episode. Check it out.